Hello, BIOL1001. Welcome to week 3. For lab this week, you're going to be doing some prep work for the Claims About Cancer lab, which you're going to start in subsequent weeks, and it's actually going to run for multiple weeks from here on out. So this is one of the 2 big labs you do in this course. So it's very important that you start paying attention to it now so you don't fall behind. It will not only impact your grade, but it could impact your team's grade. So make sure that you are participating. This is a lab-based class. Similar to BIOL1001 on campus. If you took that class as well, you would be required to go to lab. This is no different. So I just want to emphasize up front that you take these labs seriously and that you put the time into them that is necessary to complete them on time and not impede your teammates. Okay, that said, let's see what we have to do this week. Like I said, it's really just preparatory work. So you want to make sure that if you have not already, that you've ordered your lab kit. You're going to be using that starting next week. So now is the time to do it if you haven't done it already. So the information on ordering the lab kit is available in the syllabus. Go to the syllabus, go down to the section on labs. There's information to get the lab kit either through the bookstore or directly from the lab kit provider, okay? So do that first. After watching this video, do order your lab kit. After that, what you're going to be doing this week is a couple team activities. The first is a personal hazard assessment. That is a team activity, even though it says personal in it. What your team is going to do is read through the hazard assessment protocols for the different materials you're going to be using for the lab. This is pretty standard practice for most experiments and labs. All of the materials we're using in this lab are harmless. We're going to be using yeast, but that yeast is baker's yeast. It's the same yeast used by bakers to make bread and to brew beer. I'm not saying you should eat it or use it to make food, but at the same time, it's pretty harmless. Nonetheless, it's good practice to establish safety rules up front. So you have to complete the personal hazard assessment with your team as an assignment this week. You're also going to be starting a discussion of what kind of question you want to answer in this lab. So this lab is going to be focused on testing whether or not different products actually protect us from UV damage and potential cancer risks. We're going to be using a model system to do that. We're not going to be testing it on humans or ourselves. We're going to be using a yeast system, and we're going to be using a specific yeast that has a mutation that makes it sensitive to UV light. So if this yeast is exposed to UV light, like sunlight, it will die. Most of the yeast will die and the population won't grow as fast. So what we'll be doing is testing, or what you guys will be doing is taking different products that claim a certain degree of UV protection, designing an experiment to test them using this UV sensitive yeast. So this week, in addition to the personal hazard assessment, what we want you to do is come up with a question as a team that you want to test in this lab. So we ask you to compare different sort of media ads that have looked at different products that have different claims, like, say, for instance, copper tone 30 SPF protects you for 80 minutes in the sun. Well, is that true? That's something you could test. Does spray sunscreen work as effectively as lotion sunscreen at the same SPF? They say it does, but this is something we can actually test. And so that's the kind of question you want to think of as a team. You're going to post your individual ideas about what different media ads that you've looked at on your own to the team discussion of media ads. And then you will come together with your team and come to a consensus around a question that you will all address in your experiment. So this is a team experiment. You're all going to be working together to try to figure out, to design an experiment and then to execute that experiment and interpret it. So this is the beginning of it. It's a good place to make sure that you're checking in with your team and starting your participation, because like I said, you don't want to fall behind. It's a hard lab to catch up in, so make sure that you're staying on track, okay? that's all I have to say about the lab. If you have any questions, please reach out to Tom or myself. We're happy to answer them for you. And otherwise, have a good week.